Qala isn't just a movie about music or fame. It's a haunting psychological journey into the mind of someone desperate to be loved. Wrapped in stunning visuals, chilling silence, and unforgettable melodies, the film slowly pulls us into a world where ambition becomes obsession, and perfection becomes a prison. Directed by Anvita Dutt and starring Triptii Dimri, Qala is one of those rare films that feels like poetry and horror at the same time. It doesn't scream its emotions at you. Instead, it whispers them softly until they become impossible to ignore. The story follows Qala Manjushri, a gifted singer growing up under the shadow of a cold and emotionally demanding mother. From childhood, Qala is taught that love must be earned through achievement. Every mistake becomes a wound. Every success becomes temporary. Her mother's approval is always just out of reach. And that's what makes the film so heartbreaking. Qala isn't chasing fame because she loves music. She's chasing validation. She wants to prove that she deserves affection, recognition, and a place in the world. The tragedy is that no amount of success can fill the emptiness created by emotional neglect. As the film progresses, we see Qala rise in the music industry. Her voice captivates audiences, and her talent earns admiration. But internally, she's collapsing. The more successful she becomes, the more isolated she feels. Every performance becomes a battle between who she really is and who she's expected to be. One of the most powerful aspects of Qala is how it portrays mental health. Instead of giving us dramatic speeches or obvious breakdowns, the film shows psychological deterioration through atmosphere, silence, hallucinations, and visual symbolism. We experience Qala's anxiety and guilt almost the way she does, fragmented, confusing, and suffocating. The arrival of another talented singer becomes a turning point in the story. Qala sees in him everything she fears: natural talent, innocence, and the possibility of being replaced. Instead of feeling inspired, she becomes consumed by insecurity. And this is where the film becomes deeply unsettling. Because Qala understands something very human. When people grow up believing they are only valuable when they succeed, failure doesn't just hurt their ego, it threatens their identity. The film constantly asks an uncomfortable question. What happens when your self-worth depends entirely on external approval? Qala's relationship with her mother lies at the emotional core of the movie. Her mother isn't portrayed as a cartoon villain. She's complex, emotionally scarred, and shaped by her own fears and disappointments. She believes harshness creates strength, but in trying to make Qala perfect, she slowly destroys her daughter's sense of self. Some of the film's most painful moments are not loud confrontations, but quiet interactions. A disappointed glance, a cold silence, a sentence spoken without affection. These moments reveal how emotional damage often happens gradually, over years, in ways that are invisible from the outside. Visually, Qala is absolutely mesmerizing. Every frame feels carefully painted. The film uses rich reds, pale whites, deep shadows, and vintage aesthetics to create an atmosphere that feels both beautiful and suffocating. Light and darkness constantly surround Qala, symbolizing the conflict inside her mind. The snow-covered landscapes and dimly lit interiors create a dreamlike quality, almost as if we're trapped inside a memory rather than watching reality. And as Qala's mental state worsens, the visuals become increasingly surreal and disturbing. The cinematography doesn't just show emotion, it becomes emotion. Then there's the music. The soundtrack in Qala is not simply background music, it's part of the storytelling itself. Every song reflects longing, loneliness, ambition, or heartbreak. The melodies feel delicate, but underneath them, there's sadness and desperation. Music becomes both Qala's greatest gift and her greatest curse. Because every note she sings carries the pressure of expectation. And that's what makes the film resonate so deeply with audiences. Even if we're not singers or artists, many people understand the fear of not being good enough, the fear of disappointing family, the pressure to constantly prove yourself, the loneliness that comes from hiding pain behind achievement. In many ways, Qala is a story about generational trauma, the emotional wounds passed from parent to child, the unrealistic standards inherited across generations, the inability to express love openly. The film suggests that people who grow up starved of affection often spend their entire lives searching for it in success, relationships, or recognition. But the tragedy is that external success cannot heal internal wounds. As Qala spirals deeper into guilt and psychological instability, the film becomes almost ghost-like. Reality and imagination begin to blur. Her mind turns into a prison filled with regret, fear, and self-destruction. And yet, beneath all the darkness, there's also vulnerability. Qala is not evil. She is broken. She's someone who never learned how to separate love from achievement. Someone who mistakes perfection for worthiness, and that makes her incredibly human. Triptii Dimri delivers a phenomenal performance here. She captures Qala's fragility, jealousy, fear, and desperation with incredible subtlety. Much of the character's pain is expressed not through dialogue, but through silence, facial expressions, and body language. The film trusts the audience to feel emotions rather than explaining everything directly. And that quiet confidence is part of what makes it so powerful. By the end, Qala leaves viewers with a lingering sadness, not because of shocking twists or dramatic spectacle, but because it feels emotionally true. It reminds us how dangerous it can be when people tie their entire identity to achievement and approval. It also reminds us of something equally important. Healing begins only when we stop trying to earn love and start believing we deserve it. In conclusion, Qala is more than a psychological drama. It's a visually stunning and emotionally devastating exploration of ambition, trauma, loneliness, and the hidden cost of perfection. It's a film that stays with you long after the credits roll. And maybe that's because, beneath all the music and beauty, Qala reflects a fear many people secretly carry. The fear that no matter how successful we become, we may still never feel truly enough. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.